Hey, everybody. How y'all doing tonight?
Fantastic.
pretty
Thanks
good.
for asking.
It has been a few weeks, but luckily we have returned and we have a bit of actual content to get through and to actually start diving right back into it. When the party
Yes, sir.
last left off, they had been on the tail end of investigating Mr. Millenny's residence, as he had invited friends in Tradahn to enjoy a bit of the scenery, get to know them a bit, and actually make their acquaintances as opposed to just understanding. It is nearing the point at which the party has seen most of the event of the building and the small mansion that persists, as Friend and Mr. Millenny are finishing out their investigation of the workshop. And well, that's all of it. I've always had a passion for it since I was young, and I'm glad to be able to investigate it more now, and I'm sure you can understand why I've had an interest in you.
I do.
It's getting quite late. You're more than welcome to stay if you don't have somewhere else to go.
I came here originally because I recall you wanted to polish the armor.
He has a bit of a smile on his face. I just don't think it's fitting for you to have so much grime upon you when the rest of you is so refined.
It doesn't bother me, but if you would like it seen clean, then that won't bother me either.
He has a gentle nod, and they end up spending about half an hour to an hour getting into the beginning of the evening. Just making a good start. It's not supremely perfect. It's not wonderful. But at least it's nice. At this point, Tefred knows that if Tefred's back, Friend knows that it's probably a good time to start heading back to the rest of the group, as it is quite likely that Hero and Rat have finished their investigations with their group.
If you'd like, we can finish the armor next time.
That we can do. Don't hurt yourself wherever you're going.
I found doing that to be quite difficult.
Keep it that way.
With that, he starts to leave.
He makes his way back through the halls and meets up with Tefred in the downstairs area. if Tefford is here, of course.
Yes, I have just gotten back.
Friend has returned from upstairs as you have finished walking out of the dining room after having a bit more of a conversation with the butler/servant.
You find everything you need?
I didn't necessarily come looking for anything. But, yes.
Good. I'm very glad. I bet we can meet back up with the others now. It's been a long day here. This place is massive. All right. I think we're ready to head out.
And so they depart, making their way through, admiring the garden a bit on their way, and eventually heading back to the tavern/inn that the party is currently staying at. They find the rest of the 3 members securely and soundly there having a conversation of their choosing.
Hindsight, we probably should have given the naturalists the information about the starfall on the same day, rather than trying to do it across multiple days.
And just kind of shrugs.
Still got worth one.
That's fair, yes.
Do you think if we can give them a depth of information that might be worth something to them, instead of it just being common knowledge, we might be able to give them details they wouldn't get other way?
Doubtful. They seemed somewhat disinterested when we showed up, because the information was already known.
Well, next time we find something that we want to keep a secret, now we know to be a little bit smarter about how we give it out.
Indeed. I had thought that the rivalry between these groups would cause them to keep information from each other to an extent, and that would buy us a bit more time.
I mean, it's kind of impressive. They don't seem to see eye to eye, but they're not total enemies.
Ah, Tefford, friend. You've returned. How did it go?
Quite.
I see. Anything interesting?
The man that I met seemed to have a lot of facilities on the premises. Ones that he expressed we could use freely.
Tell me, did there happen to be a forge there? That might solve our problem of having to rent forges out for a rat's work.
Friend will remember, but Golden would forget.
Well, we didn't actually decide on what all of the rooms were. I think we were kind of talking about that in between sessions.
I think a rat lab was a cinch, right? I think that was one of
Oh,
the things we were like,
absolutely, yeah.
definitely there's a rat lab.
Mhm.
Library,
there's
smithy,
already a workshop
storehouse, and scriptorum were the 4 that were chosen.
Oh, good. I was looking for it in game discussion, but I couldn't find it.
Nope, it was
It's
in player chat too for some reason.
Okay.
Probably because I pung there.
Not the pong.
The pungage.
Yep, library, smithy, storehouse, scriptorium. Okay. Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
it's
yep.
very nice.
It just makes sense.
Scriptorians are so peem.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So they do, in fact, have a smithy. Alright, do you think we might be able to tour it at some point tomorrow and see if it's up to your standards?
He kind of just looks up. He kind of raises his hands.
Forge steel with clay and dirt.
Kind of puts his hands up.
Most
Kind of scratches.
most thing place where make metal upgrade can always work with. Do good at forge or facility not work.
Alright. Let me think. Sort of place was it like anyway? Just in general, aside from the utility of it. Friend, Tefred?
Are you here, Alba?
I am. I just had to be out of for something else. I'm sorry.
No worries.
No worries.
Yeah,
Not a problem at all.
bunch of stuff
Alright.
going on in a second.
Yeah, no worries.
I need a repeat of the sentence. I'm sorry.
Hero was asking what kind of place the place was in general, aside from just the utilities of the facilities.
Oh, it's a massive manor. I don't think I've ever seen a house that big. At least not been in one. They have people who work there just to clean that house.
Of note, there was only one other person that you saw there aside from
Yeah.
Mr. Maloney.
They have a person there whose job is just to clean and tend to that house and the person in there.
Interesting. If it's as big as you say, then maybe there's something. Maybe there's
my
a
scale
host of
could be
unseen
off.
servants also helping.
Yeah.
So, what point? Can't
If-
use forge?
From
Did they
what
happen to
friend
explain
Tefred
why
said.
they were giving us access to something like this? I mean,
Access give.
did they not say it?
Rat just does. If they did, Rat didn't pay attention.
I thought it was mentioned. I might have misinterpreted.
As I recall, they did in fact say that we would have access to facilities, though I am inclined to agree. What reason did they give for letting us use those?
There's got to be some kind of a catch.
I do think
Why?
that's a slight misinterpretation from Hero.
Hmm.
That might be like partial Metal Game bleeding through into characterization. He said you were welcome to like spend time there. and whatnot, but it wasn't like a
Okay. Sorry, I was
formal
going
invite,
off
I think.
what one. I was going off what one of the others had said about getting to use the facilities.
Gotcha. Yeah, as far as I am aware, I do not believe such an offer has been established.
Oh,
But
good.
it also seems to have a good rapport with Friend and a respect for them, and would, as long as they're not using it, probably would not be against it. But that would be something to talk about. And also, y'all have some skeletons to hunt in a different way than usual.
Rat kind of crinkles his nose a little bit and kind of kicks the dirt.
Anyway, though, you'll need go talk man no thing.
As he looks up at Hiroway angrily.
Right. Yes. And we also have to hunt that bear that he told us to hunt in repayment. Or different he.
What?
Wait, I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about Tradahn, not about Gleam. Yes, we can go talk to Gleam about the incident. In fact, we should probably take care of that now, while the trail is still fresh.
Yeah. Is why I said go need.
Right. That okay with everyone else?
Sure.
Okay. Well, myself and Rat are heading over to Glean. Anyone else who wishes to accompany us can do so.
It is rather late on the evening of the 23rd. The winds blow warm. Who else joins on this afternoon?
I'm going. I enjoyed him the first time. He's a very interesting person to me.
Don't recall if I was there the first time or not.
You were there one of the times.
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe there was a time that there was a time of Hiroway and Kaio. There was a time
and then
of
Friend
and
and Tefrid.
Tefrid. And Rat hasn't been yet.
Friend will probably stay behind or take a break from the city.
Very wise.
Entirely reasonable. Rest well.
As the three of you head out and make your way over to Glean's, it is rather nice. There, being that it's on the outskirts of the city, there's gentle foliage, nice tree coverage, and sound and smells, more importantly, of good food being made on the inside. You knock, you are welcomed in by Valeria, and behind her is her father, Glean, who is tending to some of the food. And he's a beastie that she hunted previously. And they are
I
now...
hope we didn't catch you.
Go ahead.
Hello. I hope we didn't catch you at a bad time.
Not at all. What can I do
thought
for
it
you?
prudent- Well, I thought it prudent to introduce the last member of our band to you. And in fact, he also had a question to ask of you. If that is alright for this time of
Takes
day.
a look around a bit and eventually sees Rat. And he, like, moves over from stewing and cutting on the pot that he's currently doing and gets down on a knee and holds out his hand to attempt to shake Rat's. A pleasure.
He looks down at the hand and then looks back up at him.
He has a smile on his face as he gets back up. Tell me, friend, what's your question? Brogleen the Magnificent. Valyria kind of just rolls her eyes and scoffs a bit on the back as she sits down to start eating and just sort of gestures to Hiraway if he wants some.
Thank you, I would be delighted.
It's
Rat
yummy.
points up at Hiraway as he says,
Hereway say,
as he points back over to Glean.
you know, thing happen city. No, go on, many thing. Information have.
In the city and out. I'm also fluent in Draconic if you would like.
He grumbles a little bit and swallows his pride because this is something that he deems important enough to not care about. As he kind of like puts his hands on his face and
Fine. In a part of the city, I found in a sack a kobold beaten almost to death. And reports of people. I need to know who they were, what happened, why it happened.
He ends up speaking in a Draconic that's not quite perfect, but it's still good. It's better than you would expect for someone who wasn't born into it.
mm-hmm.
And
That probably makes him more unnerved than somebody who is good at isn't good at speaking it.
time sensitive.
Yes.
How much detail you want?
He kind of narrows his eyes. He looks up at Hiraway and then looks at him. He's considering for a moment.
What do you want?
That really just depends on how much you end up asking for, friend.
I want to know enough to find them at least.
I'll take a look and I'll let you know. Do you mind if I finish my dinner first?
He gives a scoff and walks away. Grumpily.
He just kind of shrugs a bit. So be it. And goes into one of the back rooms of the cabin without his meal. The rest of the party is left to discuss with each other and/or Valyria.
I think I may also have a question to ask.
Him or
Yeah, once he gets back.
I've never been a fan of it.
Questions?
Valyria says she's never been a fan of it. She doesn't like his gift.
What manner of gift is it? Is it something born of the god of knowledge? Is he a sorcerer of some kind?
That's part of why I don't like it. He's always cryptic about it. Says it ruins the magic.
Just kind of throws his hands
So
up.
a sorcerer.
Always happy, some gameplay. Weird. Not simple. Give take. Quid pro quo.
I
And
respect
not
it.
just give important information help.
I mean, you could, but it's not anywhere near as much fun, right?
He's
You're right.
looking daggers at you. He is very clearly very serious about this situation.
Oh, I know. Oh. Kai realizes that you're serious in multiple ways, in multiple places, and perhaps this is not the right time to be making jokes at your expense. He puts on a more serious face.
hoping that my question is one that can be answered through mundane means without requiring that we go hunting another beast. We already owe 3 beasts now, as I recall.
Hmm. We can look at it as not just paying for this, but also putting an investment towards a relationship, proving ourselves as reliable for these things. I get the sense that he might not be quite as interested in extending these offers if people prove that they can't actually, well, stand to repay them.
It has me wondering why he's so interested in answering our questions. We haven't proven anything.
If he's as intuitive as he seems, he might know that we're good for our, good for our pound of flesh.
And negates thing just said earlier. If
Hmm.
already knows are worthy, why need prove mission?
Kyle seems a little stumped. He's thinking of something to say. Proof in hand, proof in concept. They're different, but, one might lead to the other and make you a little bit more comfortable to overextend yourself. I don't have this, specific talent, so I couldn't really tell you.
Give me like 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Hero, what about you? Are you any good at, and he kind of waves his hand, just generally, predicting things?
For the spell plague, I was fairly reasonable at it, though the talent proved itself to be unsatisfactory for what I needed from arcane magic.
Well, see, there you go. Maybe, Gleam's got the same issue. Sometimes reliable, sometimes not. So you want, something concrete to go along with your vision.
Usually when you're looking for something concrete with this sort of magic, you are looking for spell components, incense, bones, that sort of thing, not the eyes and hide of various beasts.
Oh,
This is likely not so much a spell component as an offering of some kind.
No, I thought the same thing. I don't think it's a component. I thought he just liked it. I thought he just wanted it for himself or to sell or something.
That is also a very possible option.
Although, I'll have to wait for the GM to come back so I can find out if I have any recollection of what I'm about to say.
Well, what you do see when you're looking around is all of the, like, various different trophies of different beasts of their, I guess, iconic parts.
Mm-hmm.
They are just strewn across pretty much every single one of the 4 different rooms, just is lined with different beasties.
How very likely that it's just something that he likes. What I wanted to ask is, would Kaio have any experience with, Haruspicy, I think is what it's called?
Well, I don't know what that is, so I wouldn't know.
Okay. It's like,
Divination through, like, entrails and such.
That's exactly what it is, yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Huh. Even if it was, it would feel a little weird to be able to do it in reverse, or like when you
Yeah.
watched it, he didn't really do anything with remains. He kind of just focused, and then it kind of happened. So unless he's able to do it invisibly without disturbing them, it would seem unlikely.
So it really does just come across as like, this guy likes those things, and you will
Mhm.
get them for him. Yeah, that makes sense.
Anything else the party discusses before before he returns?
Probably Rat making some snarky remark about how he'll have 2 man hides ready for him when he gets the information he needs.
He ends up coming back through after a bit. Hero weighs a fine way into his meal. Valyria is rather far into hers. Well, here's the good news for you, Nock. Which, of note, did not introduce yourself, as always, tends to be the case.
Mhm.
Also did not introduce himself as Knock.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't introduce himself as Nock to, like, anyone.
Anybody. Right. Well, has he even said that to anybody outside of the Warren?
Probably not.
Yeah.
He
Still
is
stands
here.
importantly. Here's the good news for you. I've got a lead on the 3 of them. I can end up compressing into a moat and give you the means to track it. However, you and your group is already... Can't call it in debt. That feels unfair. Has not reciprocated much. I can give you the focus on one of them, but they have split up. The other 2 will have to come later after a bit more showing of goodwill from your side.
He puts his hand out.
One is better than none.
He reaches into his pocket, and with a small wisp of energy that is very clearly some form of magic, bringing it from somewhere that was not his pocket, out comes a small eye. Would you mind giving me a nature check real quick?
Sure. $18.
18, that's pretty good. It is the eye of a man, and he hands it to you. It is rather rigid. It's not like rock, but it is not soft like an eye normally should be. And you notice as he moves it around, it is always pointing in one direction. The eye is always looking somewhere.
He nods a little bit and continues looking at it and fiddling with it and changing different directions until he looks back up and just nods.
For the one
I
in
will
the
be
coat.
back.
Chad, what did you say?
I will be back.
It points resoundingly west. Slightly north, but mostly west.
Wow, good direction. Good direction for that to point.
Yeah.
I also have a question. I know you said that we have not made a show much in the way of shows of good faith, so I would not ask you to answer this magically, as you often do. Rather, I was hoping that with your general connection to people in the city, you might be able to answer this mundanely.
I mean,
Do you-
as always, if it's a simple question, it's a simple cost. Just nothing more than your time.
Fair enough. Have you heard tell of an old friend of mine entering the city? A textiles merchant, a furbolg by the name of Arsana.
I know of the company and I know of the man. I can't say I've ever heard of him coming here. I know the integrationists tend to get deliveries from them pretty frequently. Some of the... What's the specific word for stuffing animals? Starts with a T, I think.
Taxidermy.
That's the one, yeah. Some of the taxidermy felts that we use from time to time ends up coming from some of their product, but I can't say I've heard of the man coming here. himself.
Interesting. Has his company set up shop here?
Most of what I know is that they simply deliver here. They let off to other merchants to do good. I've heard that sometimes they've considered setting up. That's something that they haven't chosen to yet.
Thank you for the information.
He has a gentle smile on his face and just sort of waves his hands around for a moment as if performing magic without actually doing so, and sits in his chair to begin eating his dinner.
Well, I believe we have our course of action. Our various marks to hunt.
It's a bearing.
Indeed.
We go.
Right.
And so the party returns to the rest.
Yep.
What are Kit, Friend, and Tefred up to at this time?
That's a pretty good question.
Friend is probably hanging outside the city, unless he's with Tefred.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Tefred would probably be starting to make preparations to get going soon.
Makes sense. Are you all planning on staying one more day, or are you all planning on heading out tomorrow?
We're heading out tomorrow.
He's getting the feed for the donkeys all set up.
Rat is rearing to go. Importantly, not explaining what the hell that was all about to anyone.
Makes sense.
The day we get an explanation out of Rat is the day the world ends. Because he's going to be explaining how he
Yeah.
ended the world.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, I mean, he probably he has no interest in explaining it to anyone, but he also doesn't care if people know. He just
Mhm.
doesn't want to explain. Hiroi
I mean,
vaguely knows, so like
you
Hiroi
did
would
s-
probably.
You had kind of explained it, but it was in Draconic, so Kai was just sitting here like, yeah, more of that. The day that I learned tongues,
Yeah, you just gotta know Draconic.
All
I
the
will.
secrets and rumors at my command. Hearing about how I really need to do the dishes tonight. Yeah, I mean it's been like 2 weeks. Like you can't just keep persisting off of going out. You're burning a hole in your pocket with how much you're spending on eat out.
Dude, Thieves
let me
can't
swap a spell out on level up. I don't need all these spells.
Thieves' Cant is such a wasted idea in the setting because there's Thieves' Cant, which is essentially a common version of it, but there could be a Thieves' Cant for every single language
Mhm.
because fundamentally Thieves' Cant is a conglomeration of like different, speech patterns and symbols together.
I never really perceived Thieves' Cant as like a version of common. I just more thought of it as like a symbolic or pictographic.
Mhm.
Yeah, Thieves' Cant is encoded in everyday speech.
Yeah.
So necessarily
in
it is
sign language
common
and such?
dialect.
There's also like literal sign language for Thieves' Cant, isn't there?
Yeah.
Base. Also probably still common sign language anyway.
Damn.
Man, that's 3 different languages in one at the same
CSL.
time. Common sign language, Thief can't. Thieves can't what? Anyway. The 4 of
I've been
them
avoiding
return to
the joke
Tefred.
the whole time. Mhm.
Friend is committing vibes.
Mhm.
Tefford is probably cooking a good meal as well after attending to some of the animals.
Yes.
Tends to be one of the things he's good at.
So, because there would be an issue with the hides and eyes and such keeping, I presume we're hunting the blink dogs and the bear after we handle your hunt, right, Rat?
He just kind of looks at you.
This is in common, right?
Yeah, I have no reason to be speaking Draconic here.
Yeah, Rat gets
So-
mad when Hero speaks Draconic.
I'm only asking because I'm not sure how much of the conversation with Gleam was in Draconic. I don't know how much Kaya would have
Everything
actually.
with Rat after Rat started speaking Draconic was in Draconic.
Hey, perfect. So I don't think Kaio actually knows what your hunt is,
Nope.
so he will ask at this time. Rat, what exactly is your hunt? I couldn't really make out what you were saying.
Worst kind of monster.
And that's all he says.
A person? Am I reading into this too much?
Oh, you've caught on very, very well.
I was hoping I was wrong.
Well, that's going to be worse, I think, than a bear or a blink dog, but. No, I.
Indeed, he likely has compatriots. Likely.
Now, as we're talking about this, I have to imagine Rat, with his more draconic features, is perhaps less expressive than the humanoids that Kaya would be more familiar with.
Mhm.
What emotion can I get from him, aside from just fury?
Yeah, so Rat is normally very aloof and distracted in the sense that he doesn't seem to, in most situations, be paying super close attention. Part of it is he's very clearly rough uncommon, and it goes both ways. So like, he would have to pay pretty close attention to most mundane conversations you guys have in order to understand them, and as a result, he just doesn't really try with most mundane conversations. So he's very aloof. He's doing his own thing. He's not super listening. He will constantly be kind of managing his own things, double checking his inventory, like creating new things on the road. Like he's active, antsy, and aloof very frequently, and prickly if you try and talk to him. Right now, he is like stone cold, like still as like a statue, like ready to go. Like his eyes are still in their, like his pupils are in their narrowed state. His body's like tensed up. Like it's not quite the point where he's in life or death situations, but this is the kind of Rat that you see when he's killing things.
That's kind of what I was anticipating. Just very, very serious right now. So, given that, Kaya will say, and given your current state, I think we maybe do want to prioritize that.
Why?
It's about as nice as he's comfortable being.
Yeah. He just says wise.
That said, we don't know how long Tradahn is going to be where he is. I propose that we seek him out first on the way to finding this person.
Oh, are they in the same direction? I've gotta be honest, I couldn't understand a word of what you were saying.
Rat holds up the eyeball and moves it around. So what Rat does is he walks onto the east side of you, holds up the eyeball so that it's staring at you, and moves it around, and it just continues staring at you as he walks underneath your legs and continues following the eyeball as he holds it up.
I don't love that. I guess that's going to help you somehow.
This is the part where Rat would call Kyle a slur if he wasn't fucking done right now.
Well, anyway, if
We're not even worth the racism right now.
That's totally valid. Now, it's getting late. Do we want to head out now, or do we want to wait until the morning?
In the morning so that we can prepare for the journey.
Rat?
Rat grumbles in Draconic something like diurnal idiots and acquiesces.
Oh, okay. I don't know what you're saying, but I can get the message. All right, I guess I'm just gonna turn in early then. Get a bright start before the sun even rises. He grumbles and goes to bed.
Kaya will not be up before noon.
He will. This is important. He can get a sense of when somebody is like about to start screaming and killing everybody.
The reason I suggest we seek out Tradahn first is that we know where he is now but have no means of tracking him in the future, whereas we have the means of tracking Rat's quarry.
Rat looks up at Hiroi and says in Draconic,
We will follow his known location because it follows the same route. The second it branches, I am going to my quarry.
Indeed.
and he goes to create his nightly little burrow.
Mm-hmm. Difford, do you want me to let Friend know that we're heading out tomorrow?
Yes, I'm still handling the mules here.
Okay. I can pick up some rations for the road on the way back.
That works
So that we
for
can
me.
get an earlier start tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, thinking about what Rat said, calling them diurnal idiots, I imagine the first couple of weeks adjusting to the sleep schedule of the group and Hiroi was pretty rough for Rat.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing, Hiroi actually probably has a fairly similar sleep schedule under normal circumstances.
True. So
Moon
both
good.
of them,
But not
They
due to
probably
biology,
stayed-
because he's a student.
they probably
Or a
stayed
scholar.
nocturnal until we all met up together.
Hiroi heads out to the outskirts to the area where Friend would be most likely to be found, and after a few minutes of searching, eventually finds Friend as he's sitting, not quite meditating, but just kind of peacefully observing underneath a bushes. Many of the small creatures just wander back and forth and attempt to forage their food to survive.
By the way, can we as a group split 50 of our gold between the characters?
Easily.
Okay. So that would be
That's not up to me.
7.5.
Y'all can do that anytime you want.
I thought you were asking the bank.
We have 96 gold in the group marble storage. I'll remove it, double your
Mhm.
individual for Rat, or just exclude Rat.
Just like
Yeah,
bump it
I'll
down to
get
56 or 54, whichever it was. Then
56.
56 and everybody takes
46,
10 but
46.
Rat.
Yeah,
46.
56
Yeah.
and everyone take.
56
Or you
except
could-
Rat.
Yeah,
Right.
if you exclude rat, then the 10 gold
Hmm.
goes back into group storage, or you can take an additional 10 and I lower group storage to 46.
I'll do the extra 10 for rat just for.
Accounting. Sure.
Is friends present?
Yeah.
Alright. Hero, you're up.
Friend, there you are. We're heading out tomorrow, both to seek Tradahn out, and because Rat is on the hunt.
For what?
As he put it, the worst kind of monster. To be less vague, from what I can gather, there are a number of people who have been committing atrocities against kobolds within the city's borders, and they've fled in all different directions, and it is his intent to hunt them down, to prevent them from committing the same atrocities again.
He stands up to start walking back. Understood.
Thank you. I have some shopping to take care of so that we're prepared for the road, but I will be rejoining afterward.
Take your time.
Thank you. Regarding shopping, how would we feel about 210 extra rations? So 3 extra bastion turns worth?
I mean,
I don't need him.
How I feel about it is me examining our current stocks. If we are buying a set number of rations, let it not be a multiple independently, but a multiple that fills our current. So i.e. we have
Okay, so that would be
127 right now.
223.
Yeah.
So that would get us up to 5 bastion turns worth of food.
Yes, and 223 is, what is the cost of it again? It's 5 copper per, 2 copper? I don't remember.
I don't recall myself.
Food?
Yeah.
Rations
Yes.
is 4 copper per.
Okay, 0.04, which means it is 8 gold, 9 silver, 2 copper. It's 37, 18, 9. 9. Okay. I have adjusted, I put the food onto the disc.
Okay. Additionally, while I'm out, I would like to see about buying myself some stud leather armor.
Given the fact that this is a rather high production location, go ahead and give me a, or I guess Kyle can be with you. Give me a shopping roll with it.
oh, fantastic.
So that would be bartering tools for Kyle and the +5 for my persuasion.
Well, it's just buying and selling, right?
Yep. Basically just shopping around to figure out how good it is. How good the rate is. You end up getting one that's very slightly dingy, but nothing that you wouldn't be able to pretty easily, like, repair for 2 gold. Technically, it's like 2.1, but a 2 is good. Because studded leather is normally 45 gold, right?
Yeah. So that would be
Oh, wow.
down to 4.5.
So it's like 2.2 gold.
I'll take it. Thank you for your hospitality. Let me just import said leather.
Anyway, what about the rest of the party?
I mean, I'm just kind of helping him with that, I guess, and then waiting to leave. I am getting the sense that Rat is very impatient to get this moving, and I want to support him in this.
As am I. In the absence of anything else, is the morning of the 34th. And the party has geared up the mules, has repacked their supplies, made sure to get fresh rations, and are beginning to head out of the city when they run and cross paths with Friend, who begins joining them once again. And so, it is the 34th.
24th, you mean, correct?
Don't think so. But I can check.
According to
24th. He is right. Whoopsie. Oopsie.
everyone, don't forget to do your long rest before we leave town, just in case you expended any resources.
I didn't, but okay.
Just in case, I figured I would make sure.
Let me check. Just gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, just as a safety precaution.
I mean, it doesn't hurt, you're right.
Does the opposite, actually.
Okay. Alright, so where were we supposed to be meeting Tradahn again?
About
Fred, you had the information, yes? Sorry, you go ahead.
the information you were provided is that it's just shy of a week to the west and a bit to the north.
Oh, wow. No fucking kidding.
Yeah. Probably.
So, we'll probably be stopping around here at some point. Can I ping? There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, stopping there just makes good sense. Alright, Mr. Navigator, take us away.
Alright, sorry, which direction are we headed?
To the west,
The west.
and a little bit north.
Alright, there's a perfect opportunity for that. So that's 1, 2, 3.
25th?
1, 2, 3.
Pause.
26th?
Yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how is the eye from here?
The eye is tending to maintain its direction quite resoundingly. Give me a second to look at a exact map for a moment. From this spot, it is about 10 degrees north of west.
So that would be 5.
It's like here.
Probably like that.
It's like
that feels
probably a
10
bit
degrees.
higher. Probably like that.
That feels more like
That's probably like 15
30
or so.
degrees.
15 or 20, yeah. Because like that's.
Well, I mean, this feels like about a third of the way to the 90, right? If you do that.
Mhm.
The actual number is not that important, though.
Yeah.
So roughly like this direction, then.
Nine. Shallower than that, but yeah. Anyway.
So that's 2 days. We're still ways out from Tradahn, so...
I mean, you're halfway there.
Mhm.
Just shy of a week is 4 days.
You said just more than a week, as I recall.
I thought I just said just shy.
Either way.
Anyway.
Oh no.
So,
Yes.
while you're walking down the road, Mr. Albatross,
Mm-hmm.
you end up finding a small selection of crates that seem to have been torn open and left on the side of the road. Give me an investigation real quick.
Holy
27.
dice.
You're able to put together that it seems like this was attacked not by beasts but by people, not from like the outside but from the inside. A lot of the like small remains of a carriage and some of the crates were more so pushed from the inside. There might have been some form of drama, there might have been something else. Go ahead and give me 2 loot rolls as you look around and try to see what's there.
Just to be perfectly clear, they broke out from the inside of the crates.
From the inside of the carriage.
The carrots still. Okay.
Someone was in the carriage and they got removed by getting pushed out. They weren't like pulled
Okay.
out or knocked out.
Okay, that makes sense.
And there are parts of it that remain scattered. The majority of it is gone and presumably still went down the road. But there's enough information there for you to be able to piece together given like the specific shapes of pieces of wood.
That's unfortunate.
And the other one? Go for it.
Like it makes sense that it's on there. I didn't know. Go fuck yourself was an option.
That's pretty good.
There we go.
Holy shit.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Yeah. High value trade goods. Let's fucking go. Actually, that's sick.
I like money.
I
will
love
add
money.
that to
Oh.
group mobile storage.
I like money.
And just like that, the rations are no longer an issue right now. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that half paid for all of the rations that we just bought.
Good
Well,
work,
more than
team.
half.
And by team, I mean Tefrid.
Yeah.
And by Tefrid, I mean whoever the fuck robbed that place.
Eh.
So
And
true.
not being thorough. Yeah. Good job. Real answers. Good job, Tefrid, for rolling a good exploration roll last time, even though we didn't get to it.
Mhm.
And so the party continues.
All right. Onward to Tradahn and to the motherfucker who heard a kobold.
Uh huh.
It's true.
Oh no. Oh, sorry, that's Dos actually.
That is Uno because it's.
No, we moved on to here.
We moved
that
one
was Trace.
that time. This
Yeah.
is Try.
Oh,
You are
okay,
now
yeah,
the
this is Trace.
25th,
27th.
27th,
7.
27th.
We left on the 4th, right?
Right.
Yeah, so this would be
No.
the 7th.
Un. Due.
Wow.
Tres.
Of note, it is mostly west of the city. Was the statement
Yeah.
given?
We're going a little bit too north.
Okay.
Rats is also facing much more west now. You get the idea. If you could go ahead and give me just a flat int
Sure.
check.
My passive int is 20.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? How do I? There we go.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Hey.
You're able to deduce, given the fact that you have math on your side and the general angle of change as you've been traveling, that it's somewhere around 25 to 35 tiles to the west of here,
Okay.
and a bit north.
Rat marks this down. You said 25 to 35 tiles.
Yeah, because you don't have... since these tiles are also a bit of abstractions of actual space, because some of them will be harder to travel than others, you don't actually know exactly how far you've traveled. You just know the general,
Mm-hmm.
roughly.
We know distance more than time as well.
Light
Right.
north is opposed to dark north, which is like the edgy side of north.
Mhm.
All right. Ready to keep going?
I think we may need to head a little bit further south to actually find a Tradahn.
All right. Ein, zwei, drei.
Are
And
we
we're-
seeing any signs of where he might be?
You were described that it is near a lake.
I think we're very, very close then.
POV Lake.
Of note, you are able to see a
Yes,
source
I
of
know.
water. Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure.
Holy shit, source of water, fishing time.
Was that the 29th?
That was the 28th.
28th.
We have one
now
more.
it's 29th once
No, it's
we
29th.
transition over to the other map.
Well,
Oh,
no.
No?
The lake
No.
that we were just talking
Yeah,
about.
Lake.
So, I'm going to be very honest with everybody here. I did not see the blue on that tile.
So
no
it
worries.
goes.
Un.
Oh.
As you're traveling through this tile, Tefford, you're able to pick up on some tracks of a rather large beastie.
Ooh.
It's not something
How-
that you should pursue right now. It's something you will do at the start of your next bastion turn.
Mm.
You have a few clues to be able to begin tracking a bear.
All right.
As you've made
Depending
your
on-
way through over here, once you've passed that city of Mardo, it starts getting a lot more inhospitable over here. It's much closer to being, it's not a desert, but it gets a lot more arid a lot quicker than you would otherwise expect. It's starting to get a bit barren. Grass isn't rare, but it's a lot harder to take root, and trees are getting rather sparse. This area to the bottom right of the lake in particular is rather sandy and barren.
We should keep circumnavigating the lake to see if we can find him.
Mhm. And there's bear tracks, so at some point.
That's likely the bear that we were hired to find.
Yes. This is the proper side of the lake anyway. This is 3. It's the end of the 29th.
And we have one more day before the bastion turn rolls over.
Isn't
Move
that perfect?
one tile for me.
Tiles
As you're
removed.
making your way around the circumference of the lake, eventually you're able to see on the coast of one area far along vision, since this is a rather large lake at the end of the day. There's a few small rivers that carve through the rocky, arid ground to reach to it. On the far end of your vision is a single solitary tree, which rests gently over the coastline, and underneath it seems to be someone. You begin to make your way over to this section by the lake, and as you transition, give me a moment. As you transition your way through the barren ground to this coastline, you're able to see as there exists a Tradahn waiting patiently underneath a tree at the edge of the lake. He sits silently and in peace.
Hiroi is going to quietly but not stealthily approach. Solemnly, let's say.
You see this cloaked skeletal figure slightly perch up as you get closer.
We heard that you left the city in rather a hurry, citing the need to take care of something. I believe that we may have some inkling of what that something might be.
He slowly stands up. He has like a walking cane, as per usual, and he turns around, looking a little wary, and says, "Not many know about this place. To what do I owe the pleasure?"
Truth be told, we didn't know about this place until we asked a resident of the city, Gleam, where we might find you.
Ah,
But
he nods. Of course.
the fact that you did leave in such a hurry, that you did have matters to take care of, is why we sought you out.
I see. So,
Am I?
it sounds like you know what I am doing here, then.
I believe I do, Tradahn.
And what do you believe to be my business?
I believe that you felt Karzon's return.
He doesn't have any facial muscles, so there's no reaction on that. But he does stand completely still for a solid 3 seconds. Well, one would expect more conversation to have happened before that name to come out of a mortal's lips. Troubling.
I thought not to waste your time, considering that you also left in a great hurry.
Yes. Business is everywhere. But those recent events have definitely changed my course of action. What know you of Karzon? He steps forward.
We know of where he was imprisoned, where his minions were spilling forth and fighting with Coatl in the region, devastating the livelihoods of the locals. And we know
Yes.
that his prison was dilapidated and nearing complete destruction by the time we arrived there, hoping to broker a peace with the Coatls. And by the time we discovered the inner sanctum, it collapsed nearly as soon as we entered, and he was freed.
He taps his stick on the ground a couple times pensively.
And also guess that he doesn't like you very much.
Rat points, raises his hand and points and utters a draconic word, most translatable to Traderkin, as he points at Tradahn.
Do I know Draconic?
Yeah.
Lother?
Yeah.
He seems interested. He looks at Red, and then he looks at Hiroe. Do you know why that tomb was dilapidated, as you say?
I mean,
I'd
it
guess.
seems like he's been trying to get out for some time. Maybe he wore it down himself?
Worm.
Oh, right, and there was also a gigantic worm thing.
Worms could do it.
I don't
But
really
the
know what
fact
that...
is, yes, I mean, a giant worm would definitely put wear and tear, but the reality is not even I would know where Karzan is truly entombed, the exact location. However, I do not believe Karzan knows of my existence, or at least thinks of me much. And he looks at who just said that Karzan doesn't like him.
That would be me, Kaio.
I mean, okay, me, I know y'all's names, but he doesn't. Just kind of looks at you.
We've met.
May have. And then he looks at Friend, and he's like, "We have met, correct?" And he looks at the party.
Once before.
Hmm.
More than once in the case of Friend and Tefrid, as I recall.
I apologize. My memory for my fellow living beings in society has waned over time. I've spent much time just walking around here. There's not much speaking to be done, but I
Glad
sometimes
those things
prefer
on your
it.
mind.
Yes. I've been quite aloof ever since that. And he chuckles a little bit. May we walk along the river, the lake.
I would love to.
And he gestures forward and begins walking, as long as anybody begins walking.
Kaio's very quickly going to follow along. This is very relaxing, despite the odd context of our meeting.
He's a very relaxing presence. Maybe in the city last time y'all saw him, he seemed a little bit more, like, oh, he's like a guild leader. He's like a big guy. But here in nature, he just kind of blends in. His coat is a light brown with some green and very much doesn't camouflage against the environment, but he's just part of it, kind of. As he slowly walks, and he says, "Your name is?" And he looks at Kaio.
Kaio Friel, I'm from the east.
From the east, I see. And he looks at the rest of the party, kind of scans, sees Friend first. Are you a construct? And he asks.
It would appear to be so.
I see. Do you have a name?
Friend.
Friend. There's a nice name. And then he looks at Tefrid, who he doesn't know the name of.
I wave. I'm Tefrid. We met, but that's okay.
Tefrid, I apologize, Tefrid.
Oh no, it's been a while, and I'm very small.
He chuckles. I have been awake for too long. And then he looks at Rat lastly.
He blinks a couple times.
And he asks in Draconic, you speak Draconic?
He kind of shudders a little bit. Too many things have been speaking Draconic to his liking in the recent time frame.
Oh, he looks shook. Okay.
Yeah. He was already kind of very on edge, even approaching, like, it seems from other circumstances, but he just kind of shakes his head. He lets out like quite a pent up sigh and I am Nock.
Oh, I see. He replies Nock in the Draconic tongue. And he says, I'm a Tradahn, and in Draconic he says that I'm still a Tradahn, and that to everybody just sounds like comment. And then he looks at Hiraway and he says, I do remember you. We have a peculiar attire. Could I have your name? To Hiraway.
It is Hiraway. Nakaku
Crazy.
Hiraway.
Hiraway. Noted. Well, you have all mentioned that you know of Karzan. And truth be told, very few people know of his name. The few that have no longer with us. And most that did survive him have passed. How come you found his tomb?
We found his tomb because there was a nearby tribe of skink folk who were suffering because they were caught in the crossfire between the undead pouring out of his tomb and the Coatls holding them back. They would have died within a few seasons if something hadn't been diverted. So we went to investigate. And when we did so, he woke up and he introduced himself to us.
Of course he did. He kind of looks at. What? Did he make mention of me? He looks at Caillou.
Oh, yes. He said you were the 3rd Arc Lieutenant and that you betrayed him. It was very dramatic.
Tarzan was the 3rd Arc Lieutenant.
What?
He's kind of like he freezes a little bit during his like nice little walk. Just kind of stops. And when you said 3rd Arc Lieutenant, and then he raises his finger for like 1 second when you begin talking about Arc Lieutenant, and and then he like raises it a couple times as he wants to interject a couple times, but he's like,
I thought Karzan was the 4th Arc Lieutenant. You're the 3rd. Am I misunderstanding something here?
he says, he recomposes himself a little bit, stands slightly taller, but he's like still a little, he's not that tall. Well, but that's quite surprising. This is as if somebody began speaking in. These are all terms I haven't heard in so long, let alone spoken by such young folk. It seems like Karzan lovingly divulged a lot of information, as he is prone to do. He's very proudful. He has always been that sort. And
He was
but
also deeply amused by how powerless we were before his visage.
On that note, I have a question for the DM. When we encountered Karzan, he was so powerful that just being near him seemed to sap our strength, that he
Yep. Your
emanated.
blood and muscles began to freeze. It was not just fear,
horror.
but also physical. Just moving your
That's what I-
joints became a chore.
That's what I mean. He was emanating some powerful force. But we're right next to Tradahn, and it just seems relaxing, right?
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with intent.
I'm just saying, I don't think I would be so flippantly describing this if Tradahn were giving off the same energy.
No. Tradahn, he's giving like if he had tea, he would offer it. But
Yeah, that's exactly the vibe.
He's giving Iroh.
He's Uncle Iroh.
He's very much Iroh.
He says, well, and the second point is and then he hesitates a little bit. I am not Tradahn. Tradahn was my father. He's the one who gave 1/2 of my essence, and my mother the other. And he indeed was one of the arch lieutenants to a powerful being from back then.
The Lord of Silence.
This is a lot of information that most don't know. But yes, the Lord of Silence himself. He had 4 lieutenants. Amongst one was my father, and one was Karzan. Karzan was known as the Conqueror, the Butcher.
Butcher of Mirandor.
Yes. Could you believe that he butchered the entirety of Mirandor? There's a lot of bloodshed. He kind of kicks a little sand around with his stick.
It's almost impossible to imagine. If we hadn't met him, I probably wouldn't believe it.
No, he honestly could have been gathering his bearings as he woken up. His ceiling was deeply uncomfortable for him, but my father was always a details man, so he made sure that the seal was tight. I am very surprised that it was tampered with or even broken. He stops. What of the area around him? Were there any visible changes, destruction? Where did he go after he woke up?
He headed far to the east, and he took his legions with him. Which,
Hey.
for what it's worth, did save the skink folk the fate of being crushed between those two forces.
The east, and he kind of seems puzzled by that. I see. So you have come to look for me to inform me of this, and is there anything else that you wanted to tell me or ask of me?
Truth be told, we believed that you knew already, considering how swiftly you left the city around
Yes.
the time that he woke up.
As son of one of the arch-lieutenants, I have a deep connection to most beings related to my creation. One being my mother, and one being my no longer among us father. And Karzan is one of them. His awakening alone rattled me to the point where I have not been much helpful for any city matters. I sent most animal messengers back with a little treat and not much else. Karzan is dangerous. He looks up. There is no circumstance where Karzan being free to roam the world doesn't end in mass destruction and the death of much which does not deserve to die. I am here to seek counsel from my father, but I have not been so lucky, as arch-lieutenants are very much tied to their Lord of Silence, including my father, the betrayer.
And given such circumstances, I doubt the Lord of Silence would be so willing to let him return. Is that
No.
correct?
No, it is troubling that he has been able to wake up. Granted that the Lord of Silence himself is tightly sealed away in a location that ideally I don't have to divulge. But yes, the Lord of Silence is much a powerful entity. He's not truly gone. He's merely forcefully put at rest, for now. The measures taken are strangely powerful. And hopefully they stay that way. He's at rest, but the Lord of Silence is very much awake.
That's not great to hear, I will tell you.
he nods and taps the stick around as he moves like a worm. Says, "Well, if you think about it, he's been awake this whole time. Actually, but evidently he's not been able to do much, which I assume counts for something. The measures are quite effective."
So, if the necropoli function similarly between him, Karzon, and any other arch-lieutenants who may be buried, or other similarly powerful undead, then they do leak necrotic entry into the countryside, and they do leak undead themselves into the countryside. Just by existing.
Yes. Just by existing and by being what he is almost the amount of necrotic control he has over these undead is but a fraction. It's like if I were to throw a little pebble into this river, it will cause a very small ripple in already raging movement. It's about it, but if he were to truly be able to leave his confines, he would raise the river and he would get rid of all of it. Karzon once said, and that's why I have been racking my brain on trying to find a way to stop that. And it troubles me that he has been able to awaken. And thus I must also find how that came to be so I can stop any future awakenings. One arch-lieutenant is more than enough. And he looks over that tree that we were at a little earlier. As I don't have nearly as much power to deal with Karzon.
As would scarce few beings would have such power to begin with, but what you mentioned does hold a degree of promise if we can work together. If there is a way to tighten the seals, to hold fast the chains binding the other arch-lieutenants, is there any method that we might be able to aid in that regard?
He thinks a bit, kind of puts his chin on the stick. Yes, there is a way. There's many ways to tighten the seal. We would need very powerful mages. A large group of powerful mages. My father, he betrayed and caught all the arch-lieutenants off guard, but it took the combined forces of multitudes and multitudes of powerful beings to defeat the Lord of Silence. Everything step by step, and looks towards the direction of the Shining City.
Is likely going to prove rather difficult considering what the spell plague did to mages.
He looks down. I know. He thinks. Actually, he says, "I'm not sure if I know anyone in the city at the moment who I can reliably call upon and has the power to rally such forces." And then he looks at the party. Maybe we start small. Maybe we start with finding who we can, and we move from there and onwards. And then he looks just down the river, just pauses pensively. What is your role on this? And he looks at the party.
If I can help with it, none. And Kaio gives him a very friendly smile.
he kind of he doesn't react right, like skeleton face. And then he looks at it. He says, "Well, I can't fault you. If I could, I would not have to deal with this." He kind of looks around. The beings that could seal him away are very powerful, and powerful beings have their own agenda. The politics that are at play in the Shining City are quite troubling as well. They make things slower more than faster. I believe that the first step to stopping Tarzan would involve making a powerful ally. What is it that you sought in the Shining City again? He looks at everybody. As in, what's gotten you adventuring? What's gotten you together?
Connections.
Connections, okay. And it looks at Kai right next to him.
Sure. Connections and, well, security.
Security, yes. Looks at Rat.
Change. Growth.
Change.
Development.
Growth. Very valid. Looks at Tefred.
These guys are pretty cool. I like traveling with people.
I see. Adventure. And then he looks at Friend.
Tefred found me, woke me up, and I did not remember anything.
I see.
And I am searching for what little remnants I can of myself or anything relating to me.
He pauses. Very purposeful. Well, you are under, I would not imagine any reason for you to be in any obligation to aid in this endeavor. I will be on double time, and all the allies I can find shall be as well. But you are free to help or to not help. That is your choice. However, if you desire connections, perhaps I could enlist your help, and we can find a way from there. Maybe mutually helpful, as any connection would be. He looks at Hiroga.
Indeed. And on that note, there is a connection that I've made with a goblin within the city who I believe may have the potential to grow into someone who could help us with this. I sent him to the naturalists to learn more about his power, and if you are in search of strong allies, then I believe he has the potential to become such an ally given time, given mentoring.
May I know their name?
He goes by the Rat King. It was
Rat
the name
Shadow.
given to him by the rats who took him in.
The Rat King. And he nods. I will keep a note of that.
I
Where is the
believe
Rat
that
King right now?
likely meeting with some naturalist or another, or something of the sort. I admit that I do not keep very up-to-date information on his comings and goings.
I see. Well, I will inquire as soon as I'm back in the city.
Thank you. I would greatly appreciate that.
Regarding connections, there is something that I would deeply appreciate your help with, if you would like. I will send other people as well to simultaneously advance on this, but there's a group of folk I would much enjoy having connections with, who have little desire to speak with my kind. He kind of vaguely looks towards the west.
East.
East, sorry. He says, do you know of the High Dwarfs?
Clifford?
Do we know what that is?
Do you guys know what that?
This is the first Teprid is hearing of it.
I was about to say, High dwarfs?
Yes.
Do they perhaps have a different name?
Do they? Okay.
You wouldn't know any other names.
Okay.
No, I don't believe they have any other names. They're very proud people. Any other nickname will probably not go over well with them. They reside in the high mountains, between here and Soju. They're master clerics, historians, and keepers of all things important and lore. They're very arrogant, but very knowledgeable and very good people. When it comes to what they do. I would very much like to be able to speak with them, but any message that comes from me would probably not make its way to their ears. However, if we can get an established line of connection, a middleman, it would help me a lot, just personally, for handling the Lord of Silence, not just Karzan.
Indeed.
I would, if you would like, I would entrust you to sometime make connection with the High Dwarfs. Perhaps find one representative who you can call a friend and let me know that you have a connection there. They're very, very secretive and reclusive as they live in the mountainside. But adventurers traveling in small groups are usually something that they would not block out of their path.
Indeed.
And he kind of looks into the tree. And he says, Karzan's a fool. He looks back. He poses no threat to the seal on the Lord of Silence. However, with enough forces, he can probably do anything he wants to everything around the seal. And that could be dangerous. And that is why, for somebody like Karzan, the way he thinks, it is only a matter of time before he can cause serious damage.
And I imagine that if he can free any of the other arch-lieutenants, assuming they yet live, their combined power will be able to harm the seal.
He pauses and he thinks. Probable? Unlikely, but probable, and that is too much chance, he says.
Well,
Should you require my assistance, you can send an animal messenger for me. You can send me pause. Does the spellplug thing kind of like block sending or anything like that? Is that something I would know?
It makes it more
or will-
problematic. Yes, it makes it unreliable.
I
At
see.
long,
What about
distances.
Yeah,
animal messengers?
tends to be totally fun. Just takes a while.
He says,
A lot more of the long
Huh?
distance communication has evolved to be physical, be like Skyride or Animal Messenger.
"Gotcha. You can reach out to me. I will remember this.
Indeed.
But most importantly, I say that you are free to participate or not. But it's just important to keep in mind, should you be searching security, should you be searching more connections and growth, answers to yourselves, or just seeking maybe something as simple as adventure. The Lord of Silence just will put a stop to all of that. It is deeply perplexing that this has happened. But history repeats itself, and that is wonderful. And that's why we need the Lord of Silence to not stop history.
A Tradahn of the Naturalists. I, Hiroi, of the Court of Sky of the Nakoku Legion, pledge that I will reach out to the High Dwarves and earn an audience between the two of you, that at least some degree of this problem may be resolved.
And so that is very formal. Thank you very much. Don't seek an audience because they will not have me or speak with me.
And
But
by
become their
proxy,
friend. Yes, become their friend. Earn their trust. Become a connection. Genuinely become somebody that they value and they trust. And perhaps they will lend their strength to our cause. It's only fair. And he kind of just taps his stick on the ground a couple times. I will remain here to attempt to commune with my father for a while longer. But what other business do you have here, adventurers?
Our original goal was to find you.
Yeah. Oh. Well done, he says and chuckles. Oh yes, and he grabs a piece of parchment from his robes, and he just he draws his bony finger just across this parchment, and an etching appears with some words, like a vague map. And he says, and he hands it to Hiroe, who seems to be standing in front. And he says, to find the High Dwarfs, it will be somewhat difficult, but the common phrase is to find a holy river and follow it to its source. As you would expect by this name, I am not very comfortable around holy rivers. But its source is high up in the mountains and it flows down constantly. So once you locate the holy river, it shouldn't be too difficult to follow it. However, I'm sure tribulations await. And yeah, he gives you the map and it just looks like goes up a river eastward.
thank you for meeting with us. Thank you for giving us a semblance of a plan and some degree of hope.
As long as hope is there, we can prevail. do not speak of this to outsiders. Do not speak of this in the city, definitely.
Of course.
Because hope is very important. For all of us to grow together, we need to stand together. Despite the fact that the city is split in 5 halves and none of them want to talk to each other. It's much more peaceful here. And he points at just the grass. See how the grass just merges into the dirt. Quite nicely. And I assume by this time we loop back to the like the tree or something.
You turned around at some point.
He says, "Oh, also don't speak of this place. This is where my father lies. Be quite problematic if Karzan or anybody associated with him found this place." Should you need anything, in the city you can go through you don't have to go through the usual set up an appointment. Just send an animal for me, a little bird, and I will set up a meeting with you in the city. Of course, there are politics in the city that we must follow. Is there anything else that Carson might have said that you have any questions with? He looks around.
Just a question for you.
He looks up.
Why did you betray?
I did not take part in the betrayal. My father did. He has always been a double-faceted lieutenant, because his job was to infiltrate, to live in mortal kind, to learn their ways, to take them out and gouge them, bleed them dry from the inside, of course. But when you're amongst life, you're amongst such wonderful existence, you cannot help but fall in love with it. And I believe that's one of the reasons my father did that. The other reason is he met my mother, a demon. However, getting out of the dogma of the Lord of Silence alone was enough for him to see what was wrong with their ways. My father was not fond of Karzan because after the slaughter, the butchering of Mirandor, my father saw the vast destruction and bloodshed caused by rampant consumption and destruction. I believe there's nothing like it. I believe he was truly awestruck at the scale of death. And even him, as an arch-lieutenant, as a powerful lich, he decided that was enough. No more, he says.
Did he not suspect what was coming?
Truth be told, my father being an arch-lieutenant, and my mother being a demon who is still active out and about, it's perplexing to me. Perhaps he just had a change of conscience. All I know is, every day life goes on because the Lord of Silence was stopped. And even if my father had a hand in helping him, he he was the hand that stopped him. And thus I am grateful. And he stops. He looks around. He says, "Oh, do anything else?"
Well,
He
it's
sits down.
good to know that you're not your father, at least. Haha.
I believe I'm very different from him for a reason.
Hmm.
He says, perhaps it's the world's way to balance itself out. He taps the ground and just like there's like a little wilted flower in front of him. And he touches it. And it glows a little green.
Oh.
And then it stops glowing. And it's still wilted.
Friend is going to touch it also and cast Druidcraft.
It heals gently.
He kind of just looks at you. He's like, "You are a kind soul." He looks down at the flower again.
I am not aware of having a soul.
He kind of thinks. Matter of speech, I guess. Do you not have a soul?
I do not know.
Good
Perhaps
question.
one day I will figure that out.
I hope so for you.
Rat observing the little interaction and Tradahn's failed attempt at rekindling the
Yeah.
plant, kind of looks up. And finally, after mostly just observing, looks decides to speak as he kind of relaxes from his tensed position, and it almost looks like he's allowing himself to think again. And kind of narrows his eyelids.
Why are you so weak where your predecessor's so strong?
Well, in the grand scheme of things, none of us are quite as powerful as any of our predecessors. It took the combined forces of my father and many others to seal all the other arch-lieutenants. And he looks down at the flower again. Were you referring to the flower? And he points at the flower.
No. More than that. It's
Oh.
a sign, but not. You speak of this in arbitrary, second-hand ways. Obviously, you were not here, but you go to seek counsel from your father. You go to seek aid from others. Your father needed help to seal the Lord of Silence, but Karzan is not the Lord of Silence.
Well, it is not up to me to save the flower. Just like how it's not my place to become an all-powerful being and rule it all. It is through unity and through connections. Because the Lord of Silence showed me what happened. When one person becomes powerful enough, corruption takes place, and the needs of the few can overtake the needs of the many. I do not save the flower because it's life. I spoke to the flower, and the life of the flower is coming to an end. It's not my place to control whether it lives longer or not. It's not my place to take the power of my father and repeat history. And thus, I have not trained or become powerful enough to fight an archlich on my own.
Just shakes his head.
He looks at the
Nice.
flower.
He looks up at Hiroe, and he kind of gestures towards Karzan when he says this, and he's still speaking in
To
Draconic.
Karzan, like just to the
Not
bottom,
Karzan,
or
Atradahn, excuse
Okay.
me. Gestures towards Atradahn.
This is what I don't get about all of you. All of you. I don't even know how to describe it. I want to say humans, but it's not the right term.
Not here, and he says the kobold word, specifically kobold word for non-kobold. So
Yes.
it's like Draconic dialect.
Word.
Non-kobold. It's always this virtue, this, it's not my place, it's not my place. This is how the way things are. And this moral grandstanding while things die, that you don't take the reins, and he starts turning and looking, and make the change you have the capability to make.
Is that something you wanted an answer for, or were you making this statement?
I'm making an observation. It's always this way. In our communities, we embrace when one of us is vastly stronger than the others, for it has a role, it has a purpose. It does not make one better to have a greater strength. Hell, Hiroe, tell all of them what I'm saying too. They ought to hear this.
Indeed. What Rat has so kindly shared is the perspective that people who are not kobolds, people who are not like him, tend to stand upon pomp and ceremony about what they are or are not allowed to do by virtue of their power, and how that often cripples their ability to act.
Did he also offer an alternative?
In a sense, the kobold way of the strong using their talents to enact the change that they're capable of.
I guess I'm not understanding the difference.
The skeleton just stares at the flower. No facial movement for obvious reasons. Just the wind blowing his head.
I have great respect for your father, Tradahn.
He
Not
looks
for
up.
any virtue of what he did, but because of the outcome of what he did. In eras of great strife, progress and change cannot be made. What I strive for is not possible, when death is everywhere.
What do you strive for?
He kind of rifles through his bag and pulls out the rifle he's working on. Kind of runs his hands across it. It's quite big compared to him because he is small.
Also, clarification: it's like firearms are like really undeveloped, right, in this world.
Yeah, and the ones that are developed are all magitech, so
Right.
they generally fire magical.
It's a form of wand casting most of the time, is a simplified way of putting it.
Yeah.
I see. He says, "Should said tinker ship?" He kind of just looks at it a little confused.
What it is technology. The world is losing magic, or so I've been told. I'm not old enough to know the world before magic was lost. Every single person seems obsessed with returning to magic, with averting the change that is coming. I seek to adapt to it, to change the world, to prevent...
He stops for a moment.
It's not so grand as I pointed out to be.
You see his like big eye sockets just staring at you. He says, "For a second there, it sounded quite moral. I think that's wonderful. I think the return to magic to the way it was is it's not the way of growth. The future is where people take it. People like you, Knack." He says, Dracana.
He gestures towards Hero A to allow translation, i.e. my way of letting Rat speak in an elegant way with everyone understanding.
Yeah.
uh,
That hero is going to relay that information.
But you have to understand that my frustration comes when clearly you have the capability to make change. You have the capability for a world that you desire, to change the world in a way that makes it better. And yet you fall into the same moral grandstanding pit that causes the inaction of every other non-kobold. Power is not evil. The way you use it is evil. To hold strength does not inherently corrupt.
He stands up.
This is being translated, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is the circumstances around
Kira
the ones
translates.
that have the power that corrupts. It is not the power, but the stance, the situation.
How not so
You
long
use
as this is
power
being translated.
to create a better situation.
See, this is why I was confused earlier. I don't disagree at all. I don't think power is a bad thing, and I don't know what your moral grandstand. Who's doing that?
He says, no, I can see where Knack, he says Draconic accent, is coming from. I believe that he says, in the name of not letting hope die, he just raises one of his hands, and y'all begin just hearing like a lot of just like very faint sounds, and then for a second there's like a really awkward pause, or like nothing is happening for like 7 seconds. You're like, what? He's like, and then you see this like swarm of like birds being like approaching, and they kind of just cover the area, so it like becomes a little darker. And then he says, as like the fluttering of the wings can be heard above us, he just looks up, his jaw moves a little bit, a couple times, a little whisper, and then he waves his hand, and they all like being flying against like to all directions in the continent. And he says, I might not have the ability and the firepower of my father to make a hole in the ground the size of a city. But throughout my long 300 years of life, I've made connections, made friends, connected with people in a way that I believe my father only wishes he could have. Just so I have the ability to say that I can exemplify that in unity there is strength. I'm here to help grow the world that my father saved from the Lord of Silence. And the only way I can assure that even then I'm not the only one who gets to say how the world is grown. I employ the help of others. And I make sure that everybody has a say. So I am not powerful. But with everybody together, maybe I don't need to be powerful. He says. And
Right
And-
now.
yeah, some bird poop falls around us, but not on us.
I mean, that does
Good
sound very kobold in nature. Working together if you can't.
Mm.
He trails off.
Not to mention also the idea of, like, if Rat's entire thing is the strong should use their strength for it, the entire idea of I was here to help regrow a world that was broken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably makes a good argument for it.
He still takes issue with the idea of it's not my place to train and become the
Yeah.
kind of person my father was, because that implies he has capability to do so and power that he rejects.
Oh, I don't respect that at all, but whatever.
He looks at the party. He's like, "You're," and he looks at I guess next to him, Tefred is there. Like, your party has a nice. It reminds me a little bit of the city. There's differing opinions. That's good.
Oh, we got a whole bunch of us around here. It's really nice, honestly.
He nods.
Never a boring moment.
It's not seemed that way.
Mhm.
Always something happening. That's a good. And he just sits.
One last thing before we go. I wanted to make sure I was hearing right. You said you had been alive for 200 to 300 years?
Yes.
Alive?
Well, undead. But yes.
Oh, that's easier to understand then.
No, that would be much.
Had...
He looks at you.
Go ahead.
He just waits. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I had understood
Are you
that there was an entirely separate scale of time at play here, that we were dealing with multiple thousands of years. But if the son of one of the people involved in this grand drama is as old as the Dragonborn on this plane, how long ago was all this then?
Only 300 years ago. Quite recent.
Gods above.
Honestly, the land is still healing. And life is still being made, and what we've lost has not been has not yet been fully recovered. Perhaps that's why I'm so surprised he's already back. Very unfair.
Weren't the Mirandori artifacts dated further back than that?
Most of them were dated to like 400 years or so.
I see.
Damn. You've given us a great deal to think about. So, I suppose we'd best take our leave shortly so that we may continue on our way. But
Of course.
if
Thank you.
if the opportunity arises that we may aid in this endeavor, know that I at least pledge my sword, my magic, and my words.
Next time I send a message, one of those many birds will find out their way to your party. Thank you for offering your help. You have not helped me, you have helped all of us.
We've done nothing so far. We have yet to see.
Not. That is true. But I believe in promises.
Is Discord pooping out, or is Foundry shitting for y'all?
It seems to be working
Founder's not
fine for
shitting
me.
Yeah,
Let's give it like 5 seconds.
I'm not seeing all the
As for
skills.
the funny that you should mention believing in promises. There's rather a magic towards all their own, and I believe that if we can bring the right words to the right places, we can hopefully gather a force large enough to oppose what's on the horizon.
Yes. I believe if you can establish a connection with the High Dwarves, you yourselves will be equipped with newfound allies that very few can call friends.
It will be a start.
Yes. Small steps, he says.
Shall we be on our way then?
Tradahn, I'd like to apologize for confusing you for your father, but this really has been quite educational, so...
Of course. We share the same last name, so...
I'd like to make a minor retcon, because I just said Tradahn and then I didn't mean to be his father, so... I did say
think
his name
that's
properly.
Very fitting. But
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
his name
retcon
is
it anyway.
Tradahn, so... Like,
You know, that's true. Tradahn.
yeah.
Would Kaio even notice that he did that? Probably not. He's very flippant.
He sits back down and just like finds his place again on the rock, and yeah, he just sits down and resumes the position that you found him in. Assumingly he had just been sitting there for a while at this point, weeks probably. Oh, and then he gets up last second before y'all leave. This. Oh yes, if any of the naturalists that you have come into contact with while sending the Rat King my way ask you about me, it should be fine now. One of the birds I sent out is informing them of my situation. I had been somewhere else for a week mentally, so He sits back down.
Probably. I suppose we shall.
Hmm. And unless there's anything else, I suppose we take our leave.
The party leaves Tradahn to resume their meditation and communion under the tree of the grave of his father, and they begin to head out to whichever direction they continue to go. I really wish
All right, it's time to shank a motherfucker.
I really wish my boundary that I have open on my side for the stream would continue working, but alas.
Oh no.
For everyone else watching, it'll just be theater of the mind. Party is at the bottom right of the lake. It is very late on the 29th. No, it is very late on the 30th, and you have one move left.
Back to the west then.
Mm-hmm. We had one more style of movement.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, right there.
Alright. And with us being on the verge of a new bastion turn, should we take our 5-10 minute break?
That is what I believe
Before-
is wise.
Alright.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We shall return.
We just had a fucking doozy of a scene.
Yeah, my god.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Doing.
I mean, that conversation was something else, but I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that the truth? My foundry is not doing it on the side. So, we will have a black screen,
Okay, cool.
and we will make our way through as we try to describe it somewhat. We have returned to the center. We are at the lake, underneath the lake. It is the 31st, and you know what that means.
Fashion turn.
Fashion
Chad,
turn.
Chad, if you could subtract food. Actually, does the decanter of water decrease rations in normal circumstances, or is it just
Nope.
extra rations that it decreases?
It negates the penalty of extra rations.
Okay, good to know.
It's just
Okay.
clarifying. It's been a fucking minute. 70, right?
Yes.
40
That's why I thought we were in
for
a
40 for the
12-7.
4 of you, 0 per friend, and 15 for each mule.
Got it.
Okay. Golden, if you could roll threat. JC, I assume you've already taken care of weather.
I am about to.
Albatross, if you could roll the exploration roll, D8 plus 6.
Right, we're at +6 now. That's exciting. A whole new number has opened up to us.
A new number touches the beacon. Alright. With that... Chad, have you subtracted the food?
On the
Okay.
desk.
Holy.
Whoa!
Wow.
Weather's going hard, huh?
Travel actions. That would be... Alright.
Studying until I get my charisma increase.
Golden.
Study.
Chad.
To reflect Rat's absolute adherence to finding this person, he's taking what's effectively the guard action.
Okay. I myself am ritual casting floating disc. Albatross.
I do believe there is a tracking action, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Then I will be tracking the bear.
Superb. It is the opposite of the guard one. Let me see, where is it? Tracking, yep. Roll a d20 with either int or whiz. In any relevant skill proficiencies. Do you have, like...
I have expertise in survival.
Yep, that'll do it.
I'm feeling lucky.
Let's go gambling.
He was right.
Much better.
Yep.
Much better. So you get to choose where you're gonna be if you end up finding them. You get to choose if you actually want to take the encounter when you get there, and you get a free first initiative because you get to get the jump on them because of how good the roll was.
Ooh,
Alright.
maybe I do that for my stuff too, if that's kind of the...
Of note, you do
We'll
have
have nobody
to have
guarding
a
then.
specific target in mind when you do that, and it does not apply to other targets.
Plus, if
Yeah,
you
no, but
don't...
what I'm saying is maybe Rat should be taking the track action if that is the effects of the track action. Would his currently tracked quarry not count as a valid target for tracking?
It would. Yeah.
Fair warning, we won't have anybody on guard if you do that, though.
Okay, I'll guard that.
I can switch if need be.
Who wants to do what then in that case?
What were you already doing, Golden?
I was studying, but I did just
I'll
get
let you study.
my.
You haven't studied in a long time. You should
Well,
study.
I did just get my my points spent for something, so I'm not actually close to anything. So I'll guard if you want me to.
I guess I'll track then.
Okay.
Actually, no. No, I should guard because we're definitely not in this Bastion turn going to find the,
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a
people.
decent shot of us finding this bear.
You know what?
Yeah.
Hold on. I've finished resolving the weather effect. Tefford, you do not need to make your hunter's mark roll.
Is it raining bears?
No.
Is it raining rain?
Rat.
Is it
go
raining
ahead and make
hunters
me. Go ahead and make me a survival with either int or wisdom, and you can roll it twice.
i.e. advantaged or?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a neutral effect, so I'm just going to roll raw int since it's effectively the same.
Okay.
It's shift for advantage.
I think so.
It was
Funny
not.
how that ended up turning out, where how the weather ended up turning out.
Cool. Wow. Wow.
Would you
Yeah.
like to re-roll it?
I would like to re-roll it. Much better.
Hey.
The same effects are listed where you get to choose a lot of the conditions of how the fight takes place if you encounter them during this time.
Okay. Then anyone who is studying, roll 5d6 plus int, plus 1 because if I'm not mistaken, there are 2 people studying. The rest of us roll 3d6 plus int.
Wow, nice.
Brad is going to learn how to use every single set of tools in existence.
Totally based.
That's not an artificer feature already? Dang.
Learning a hunter's kit could be pretty good if you do end up wanting to go down this like sort of vengeful path.
Hunter must hunt.
True. Yeah, and so the thing, Kaio, that artificers get is that you are effectively have expertise in all tools. So if you're proficient with it, you have expertise with it.
Okay. I played an artificer at
Which,
level 10, but it was a long time ago.
So basically, the condition is get proficiency with it, and then you get expertise. And a
Automatically.
lot of these tools can be used in ability scores that are much more useful. Rat. Not
Alright.
these tools, though.
Is that resolved?
We are good, yes.
As the party wakes up in the morning, despite the general arid environment you are in, and the fact that it is supposed to be getting very hot as you continue west as you are heading into some of the most barren, dry, and hot area, it is a rather warm week, but it is not hot enough that you would have to use any of your charges from your decanter of water. What is happening, however, is there is a very gentle rainfall at the very, very start of the day as you awake, but none of the ground around you wets.
More aberrant weather.
I would like each of you to give me a perception.
Yep.
How does it roll in at 20 in a really long time?
Is this something I could guide myself for or no?
I think it's quasi-passive. I don't know if you'd know to do it.
Okay.
Too bad, you get a 19 anyways.
You meet the threshold because it is a very difficult check.
9/11. Can I get guided? Because I'm so close to the threshold.
Io, perhaps it's your mastery with water, but you're able to eventually figure out that what is falling from the sky is not rain or water. They are small, essentially mystical arrows that simply pass through everything and leave things strange.
Strange.
You communicate with Hiroe a bit, as well as Rat, to attempt to figure out what's actually going on. And you discover that it is Hunter's Rain, as a series of... as everything that touches the rain is inflicted with Hunter's Mark.
Oh,
Fuck.
damn.
Well, helpful for us, hopefully.
This is what I'm talking about. Sometimes you just listen to the dice. I'm like, damn, it rolled the one that's, hey, roll on this D100 table, and then I hit the one that's like, it's Hunter's Rain. It's just cool. It's cool. I love
hunting this shit,
randomness.
honestly.
It is very
So-
good.
Mhm.
Casting of
Also, Hunter's Mark
usually-
is so good for red.
I'm confused. Where's Hunter's Mark coming from?
The
rain.
sky.
The weather. Everything has Hunter's Mark applied to it.
That's
A
fucking
casting of Hunter's Mark
terrifying.
usually has a caster who benefits from the increase in precision, who... Kyle, if this is a so-called Hunter's Rain, then who is the hunter who benefits from it?
All of us, I imagine. Is there any living creature that I can see in the nearby area?
I mean, this area is pretty barren in the first place. Y'all are pretty much all of it.
Oh, fantastic. I'd love to experiment, but I'd rather not hurt anyone. Well, actually, here. And I'm just going to walk a little ways away and see if I can... I don't know how the spell works, actually. I know it does additional damage if you hit somebody, but isn't there also a component of helping you to tell what direction somebody is?
Yep. You
Yeah,
have
so I'm just
advantage
going to
on, like, checks you
you know?
make to attempt to track monsters or targets. Targets is important.
I guess the experiment here is, do we all count as the caster and the target? And to that end, I'd like to, try to see if I can sense where the group is, in a magical sense, not in a typical, just like, yeah, they're right behind me sense.
She's right behind me, isn't she?
I mean, you're able to strangely feel as some of the other party members move around the camp, and you have your eyes closed as you're able to tell generally where they are.
Fantastic. Okay. And I'm sure this kind of experimentation is sort of how we suss out what the rain is doing to us.
Part of it.
Yeah. Well, Rat, I think this might be a little easier than you thought. Well, hopefully, anyway.
Good.
So let's be on the way, get that bear, get the rat's quarry, and let's be back as soon as we can. Tefford, Rat, I trust you to lead the way.
Tefford takes
yeah,
charge.
No worries, I'll trust.
Yes.
Nope. Do we need
So-
to wait until next session?
I bet we can find the bear.
We can
Okay.
do the bear, yeah.
Yeah.
Do the bear or
Yeah, the
just
bear's-
get there and leave a cliffhanger?
How long do you
Uh,
think the bear's gonna take?
10 minutes, if even.
We can do the bear.
Yeah.
I think this kind of makes it
fight,
a lot
right?
easier because you guys have a lot more attacks.
Uh huh.
Yeah, we have a lot of attacks. I think all of us just using our base attacks is already what?
A lot of damage.
3, 4,
Several many damage.
5, 6. 66. Just ignoring the weapon damage.
We have to make sure we don't overkill it, because that's what happened with the basilisk, and it was such a mess.
Yeah, well, we overkilled the basilisk because we all hit it at once.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know, maybe this would be a time for me to bust out a control spell.
Ooh.
Maybe Rat uses his new feature to snipe. No.
So the party moves up and to the left and then up to the area where they previously had tracks, and thanks both to Tefred's expertise as well as the rather fortuitous weather that has occurred, the party quickly follows through to a small grove amidst cliff sides where there's some gentle moss and earthworks growing amidst the stone, where party comes across and is able to get the jump on a rather large white mother bear with their 2 cubs. Where do each of the combatants start in this? Sir Tefred?
I think we're going to start around here. Oh, jeez. Oh, they're all scattering about.
I mean, you get to decide where everybody is.
Oh, okay. I imagine they'd still be packed together. Is this a cliff edge up here?
Yes. This is unpassable terrain up top.
Unpassable, so we can't be on it. Okay.
Right. It is a relatively sheer cliff face. This is... Most of the area nearby is arid. This is a rather steep cliff face that is causing a lot of the water that comes by to sort of drip off and drain down to here, giving it at least a bit of humidity and a bit of horticulture.
Okay. Do we want to try to start in the back here, try to get the move on them, or do we want to start closer?
Rat's gonna hold a long range because he's, long range.
I think
I
Tefred
would
will try
prefer
to
to be
get
at
closer.
a longer range. Like,
So they're probably
here-ish.
as far away as you can reasonably make it.
Mhm.
The wall continues on straight ahead.
I do not have any vision.
Yeah, on the
beyond-
bears.
It's like a black square, and
Huh.
the bears are moving out of it. Whoa!
Weird how that
Alright, it's
happens.
dead.
Circles.
What the fuck? Hold on.
Is this
There we go.
this gray-looking terrain? Is that difficult terrain, or is that just stone?
It is slightly elevated.
Okay.
It takes an extra 5 points of movement to move between it and like the moss area, but it is not difficult terrain.
Okay. So it's like climbing, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like mantling
5
it.
feet of climbing. Okay.
Are these the
Alright,
positions?
Are we good? I think so.
Alright. The party gets a free initiative turn due to Tefred's fantastic hunt abilities.
Fantastic.
Holy hunting.
Do we roll initiative then?
Not yet. Everybody
Oh,
gets to take one round, and then we roll initiative.
I would like to start by casting slow, if that is alright with everyone.
I'm not complaining about you casting slow.
Low is such a fucking good spell.
Yep. As Hiroi just carefully, calmly unsheathes his sword and does a careful slice into the air in front of him as a rift which turns into like a weeping eye weeps sort of black tar like substance onto
What
the bears.
the fuck? Okay, sorry. That's
Did they all
three.
fail?
That's 3 nat ones.
Oh my
Jesus
god.
Christ. And he
Give me
once
those.
again utters the incantation in Draconic, which translates roughly to "Let seep sorrow into your hearts."
Fantastic. Are we just going as we'd like to, or what's the play here?
I think it's as we'd like to right now.
I have a thing that I'd like to do, but I'm not too sure. Do we, as characters, need to be careful with what we do here?
We don't want to ruin the pelts. We don't want to overkill.
Right. How do I avoid ruining the pelts is my question.
Not overkilling.
What is overkilling in this situation?
Reducing
Over
their
half-
health point
the-
below
like,
0.
Another
Massive damage.
instance.
Thank you.
Another instance of negative max HP.
So
I
for
want-
example, go for it.
I would like to cast Ball Lightning, but I'm not sure what that will do if these are just regular bears versus really cool bears.
Here, we can do a test here. Rat will shoot a baby bear.
Oh,
and we'll
perfect.
see the damage he does and the effect.
It's like, damn, we're here for the mama, but let's shoot a cub anyway, just because.
Well, we're killing the mama. We might as well
They
kill the
will
babies and
starve
let
to
him just
death.
starve in the forest.
Exactly.
They are
And that's free pelts.
not super young. They are adolescent or
Either way,
pre-adolescent.
it's a good test.
Friend is not planning on hurting the cubs in any way.
Yeah.
Oh, you should have told us that
Okay.
before we started killing them.
You haven't.
Alright, anyway, make your attack. Do it with advantage
have-
because it is
hold on.
on.
Hold on. Important. Has friend voiced not wanting to hurt the cubs?
I mean, not yet. Combat hasn't started.
No, I mean like when we were approaching it, like there was time. Like would he
y'all
have?
had a lot of
approaching it?
time to figure out how you're going to approach this because Tefrid is able to. His effect on the tracking roll is like, okay, you move so that you're like downwind of it, so that like.
Okay, seeing
you
the size of
watch,
them,
you-
he would ask Tefrid the chances that they could survive on their own. And then based on that would make his decision. And if the answer is adolescent, then his decision is to not harm them.
Yeah, if friend says that, then Rat will not intentionally provoke friend by shooting the baby bear.
Teford is only planning on hunting his target, nothing more, and he would make that clear as well.
Yeah. Rat also just doesn't know what the target is. He wasn't there. No.
He would have mentioned the albino bear.
There we go. In which case, Rat takes a shot.
What are the
at
effects of slow exactly?
-2
It's
AC
a
for
spell-
this specifically.
-2 AC, -2 Dex saves. Can't use reactions. Halved movement speed. Can only use an action or bonus action, not both. And can only make one melee or ranged attack a turn.
Rat
Yeah,
is
though.
using his bonus action and movement to add a +3.
That is a connection.
For 16 damage.
Damn.
And then second one is already chambered once again. Oh, I could have just clicked attack again. Attack +3.
They are probably eating the carcass of some creature beneath them. That is also a hit if that is loading properly.
16 is
Yeah.
the okay.
And
Oh, and again, 16
Jesus
more damage.
Christ.
and the mother
Max damage.
based is tearing off parts of it for its children when it like one of its back legs gets shot out after like its senses are dulled from the slow.
As both shots ring out, Rat drops the hot gun.
How's the bear looking?
Both of its like back legs are partially limping as it's like been as parts of its like back and or ass has been shot.
Okay. I would like to cast a guiding bolt at first level.
That is a hit
that's a f-
because it is
Oh.
slowed.
Perfect.
Slow value.
It's only 11 damage, but it means the next person has advantage on their attack.
Already did, right? Because it was surprise.
Mm.
Oh yeah, these attacks have some advantage anyway. But
Oh,
that doesn't mean
well,
he gets
let me
the
roll
attack.
again just to see.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shit.
This could be bad.
Nah,
I
it's
don't think
fine.
you're
Oh,
killing with
sneak
massive
attack!
damage.
Oh,
And
You're not
attack.
killing with massive damage.
I mean, as
Okay.
long as he's not dealing like. Yeah.
You have
Anyway,
to deal like another 60 damage to kill it with massive damage, probably. It's just, it's not happening.
So that level 5 is 3d6 on
3d6.
sneak attack. So plus
Well, we're
so
level
it's-
6.
It's still
Yeah, it
3d6.
goes up every odd level.
Oh, I would never play a rogue, I don't know.
bruh.
If I don't
And
have
that's an
spells,
extra
I don't
d6 because of the hunter's mark in the air.
know. Nice.
Oh yeah, everyone roll an extra d6 for each of your attacks.
Oh shit, that's important.
So
Yeah.
that's going to be about 39 damage.
Plus 3 for me.
Rat roll another 2d6.
Yep.
Let's be very
Kyle,
low rolls.
1d6.
Hell yeah!
I got a 3 on mine.
Saffron. Yeah. Right.
What'd you say?
It is not overkilled,
Holy
Oh, good. But it is killed.
but it is killed.
Hooray! Now, friend, I need you to handle these baby bears.
Yeah, friend is going to move up and then anchor his staff in the ground and then put his other free hand into the ground and cast Entangle.
Yes.
At
Oh, that's sick as fuck, actually.
first level.
Why is he
there
entangling?
to restrain the bears
So
so
they
that we
can't
can
follow
get
us.
the pelt?
Okay.
Uh, and that's basically going to be his turn.
Okay. Would y'all just mind rolling? Like, I'm not even gonna bring up the tracker, but I do want y'all to roll me your initiatives if you can.
Can't.
We can't because there's not an
You
encounter.
can't just click on dex.
Hmm.
It says
I
there are
guess
no combat
technically, yeah.
I guess it-
Yeah. I should get that. I should get the roll that Kaio's die bumped into mine and changed my roll. I would have an 18
True.
instead.
What's your bonus, friend? 0?
Yup.
Hello.
Albatross?
Alright. This
Yeah.
bear here saved on the entangle. Yeah, okay. And uses some of its movement to dash away. After seeing its
Basically, all of its normal movement at that point.
I mean, it's only the, like...
Slow halves movement,
Yeah.
hence the slow part of slow.
So yeah, I guess it's technically here then.
It
did
doesn't matter. We're not
run
going
off.
to hurt them.
Yeah.
If the other one is like making body language that it wants to
It
flee,
is
he will
it is
release the spell.
flailing and like trying to face away from you all,
Yeah, then he will release the spell.
and it runs away. How do
Frankly, a
I?
rather simple task. You have to go to the protractor
Nope.
segment.
Nope.
Oh.
I thought there was a way to disable animation on a target, but
Ah.
It's only the late animation. Either way. The party has slain the beast rather successfully. It is a good showcase of the power of being able to know your target and track them. And also a warning for why y'all should absolutely make sure you're taking the guard action.
Yep.
Yep.
And with that, the party makes quick work of being able to get a good chunk of its hide. I believe, given that it is starting to get a little later than usual and that we are having some technical issues, I have marked down that we are 2 out of 3 movements taken on the 31st of High Sun, and that we should probably resume it, not next week, but the week after. Or perhaps next week, depending on.
Depending on schedule.
I am okay to do it next week, since we had 2 weeks of a gap before this. And this is something we can discuss when stream has ended.
Yeah.
Yes.
We shall see. Either way, thank you all for showing up, especially you, Hawkeye. And I look forward to seeing you all when we next can.
Yeah.
Thank
Farewell,
you for
everyone.
having me.
Yeah. Good shit. I'm
Bye-bye.
so fucking happy I get to cast slow again.
Whoa!
I wanted to cast not Fireball so